Welcome back to the show, everyone. And as I'm sure you've heard the big news making rounds in the world of football, it is that the arguably best player in the world, Lionel Messi, has informed his club, Football Club Barcelona, that he wants to terminate his contract this summer and leave the club. Just to be clear, I'm not one to talk about all the big transfer rumors in the world of football. I'm not one to talk about all the hot news making the rounds on social media or just wherever on the front pages. That's not my style. But I wanted to discuss this case of Messi leaving Barcelona because of how it ties into a chapter of my upcoming book, You Say Soccer, I Say Football. The chapter that I'm talking about for this video is called The Individual versus the Collective. Alright? Get it? So, I want to discuss Lionel Messi's case because, not because I care about what club he goes to or, what his wage demands are going to be. I'll leave that to the analysts. But I want to talk about how this individual, this extraordinary individual, Lionel Messi, kind of interacts with, or has interacted with, the collective that is Barcelona, the club, the institution, and the team. So on one hand, people will say, well, the player is never above the institution. The player never, ever, ever comes above the club. It is always the collective that comes above the individual. And I agree with that. I agree. I think the individual should never trump the collective. And in this case, that means that, well, if Messi wants to leave, then let him leave. He is not bigger than the club. He should not be bigger than the club. However, on the other hand, Barcelona, and sorry to any Barcelona fans watching, but like my club at the moment, it is in shambles. It has been in shambles for the last few years. Poor transfer policy, poor transfers, ridiculous amounts of money spent on just the most interesting players. Griezmann, anyone? And, this has resulted clearly in poor performances on the pitch. And one could argue that, well, okay, the collective is above the individual, but Messi has basically been the collective. He has basically been the team because the team has failed him and just failed in general so much that he's really been the only person that has done anything. And I also agree with that. This is clearly the eternal dilemma for any football club or any organization in general. Should you prioritize the desires of the individual? Should the desires of Messi come above the club? So give him all the money he wants, give him all the players that he demands? Or should the collective and the team, the club, the institution come above him? And then if he makes demands that are simply not in line with the club, then you should let him leave. I talk about this dilemma and more in chapter 12 of my book called The Individual versus the Collective. And if you want to find out more, make sure to subscribe.